Good evening, Chrissy. Thank you very much that you take your time on this evening to help me with my class assignment. I'm participating in I'm taking a entrepreneurship class at UNT Dallas. And for this assignment, we had to find a need that is in our community that we could satisfy. It wasn't really specified in what way that need is. We just had to come up with a solution for that need. And now we're basically presenting that to possible customers, consumers, that could use that service or that product to fulfill their need. So I'm going to present to you my concept, and then we'll go and talk about who I was thinking this would address, the what, and the why. Make sense?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, let's start into it. So the concept is that Dallas Total Recycling provides drop-off locations for various recycling goods. These sites are operated and maintained by individuals that currently live at the margin. Total Recycling sells the goods to producers and manufacturers that then can repurpose those goods. This will help the DFW community on several levels. First, it will reduce the amount of trash that lands on landfills. Secondly, it reduces the new resources used to manufacture goods. Lastly, it helps to give individuals that live at the margin an entry point, a re-entry point back to society by giving them value and purpose. So that's the overall concept. So I thought I saw the need, or I feel there's a need for having more abilities and more clearly directed recycling strategies within the DFW area. And I thought individuals that would be interested in such a service would be people that are eco-conscientious individuals and want to help the environment, and individuals that want to support a good cause by giving marginalized individuals a workplace. So those are the two groups I identified that would probably be interested in this kind of adventure and concept. How do you feel yourself about using such a service? And do you have any other groups that you would think that I should include in this? Or do you feel the ones that I included may not be appropriate, or you feel they're good chosen?
Well, my thought, I'm guessing this precludes any curbside pickup. Like, for example, Arlington has curbside. The city of Arlington has curbside recycling. So in a way, is this in addition to something the city might provide?
So what I identified, I mean, most locations these days have, or towns and cities as well, complexes offer some kind of a recycling service. If I remember actually correctly, we started the recycling service here on our complex because the city of Dallas was going to start fining complexes that don't offer recycling services.
Okay.
So the problem that we have is there's a good amount of stuff that we can recycle, but I would argue that the amount of stuff that we cannot recycle is still larger. Recyclable goods, they're still larger than the ones that they're accepting.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in the city of Dallas, Arlington. Do you all can give any and everything, or they say, look, oh no, this is the stuff that we take and this
I'm sure that's listed on our website, what we will take and what we won't take. Mostly it's glass, metal, cardboard. They do ask, small items, appliances, things that are, metal things that are, no longer working. They ask that those not be put in recycling. I'm not sure styrofoam is acceptable to recycling. We do not put that in. So I'm pretty sure that what you're targeting is there is a need. I wonder about specifics, like I've often wondered, like straws and any kind of plastic cover, plastic carton or anything, if that could be separated from the canned goods and from metal items. Pretty much we know not to put in things that won't be accepted, but sometimes they find their way in it. And I don't think it's a problem, but the beauty of just curbside recycling is you don't have to take something anywhere. I understand what you're saying, and I think there's a valid point. However, the marginalized marginalized group of people that you're talking about, I'm guessing you're thinking homeless. Or are you thinking people that are just like below the poverty line, or because they would have a hard time getting to a location, with recycling? Is that kind of your idea, is to have some place,
Yeah. So okay, let me guide this conversation, because you kind of gathered with your answer that you just gave me. You kind of went across all three sections that we're going I
Okay.
you about. So I'll pick up a few of those things. So
Okay.
the first part, let me go to the what. Before we go back to the who. So the what, and I completely hear you, that there is the basic needs are most places covered, but there's a large of amount of things like batteries, let's say, or as you mentioned, electronic goods, or hey, what about that piece of furniture that you can't give to Salvation Army because it's broken and nobody wants to buy it? You just put it outside and then it lands anyway at the landfill.
Right.
Versus, hey, there's actually good pieces of wood included in that thing that could be separated. There is metal included in that could be separated. So those are the things that I'm talking about. We still, the idea, the concept still would include the regular things that you could already give at your regular place. But if you say, hey, I'm going to drive out there anyway, and I'm going to support a good cause, and since I'm going to go there anyway, I'll bring that stuff at the same time as well. So it still would include that they would accept newspapers, magazine, books, glass, aluminum, and those kind of things, but then add on additional stuff that you could recycle, but right now they're still just landing in the regular trash and fill up our landfills.
Right.
An additional service that I thought of that would probably be interesting is having a shredder service right by the recycling station that you can just put in your paper and you shred it yourself and recycle the paper right afterwards. So that would be an additional. So the beauty of, or the inspiration from this whole thing comes from what Switzerland does. And Switzerland is world champions in recycling. Right. And the interesting thing is the people that actually drop off the stuff do the majority of work. Because if you want to recycle your stuff, you're not putting everything in one big bin. You got to go and drop off here the glass, here the metal. So the sorting already happens.
And I believe that happens in Austin, Texas as well. I think Austin has that kind of separated reciprocals. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. So Switzerland already does this. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Would you, if you would have a place that would offer you to do additional recycling, that you right now would just trash like your
Mhm.
batteries or your plastic goods that are,
Mhm. Mhm.
but the city for whatever reason doesn't take
Right, right.
you. Could you think of anything else that somebody brought up? Fabrics.
Mhm.
There is
Mm.
clothes that you can't give to collection places because they're just really worn out and they're bad.
Right, right.
They could probably be reused in one kind of a way or a way. Another person was saying about paints and chemicals,
Right.
those recycled.
Mhm.
And then
What about old signage? Like things, garage sale sign, any kind of signage that a person would use, that for maybe, I don't know, license
yeah,
plates, anything,
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Those are things that
End of
I
the day,
know.
it's kind of that's plastic or that's metal, so that you could actually bring that for recycling. So this is kind of the stuff that I was thinking that could be all collected and
Mhm.
at different locations. That
I think, yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea.
so if you would know that there's something in your area, and that was one thing that came up too in another interview, that somebody said, I would be willing to go and do that if it's on my way to work or
Right.
the way to go to the grocery,
Mm-hmm.
of doing an errand, versus if I really have to go out of the way to do it, then
Mm-hmm.
I would be less likely to do it. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Yeah, I know that, for example, Goodwill, they take a lot of things. It's a drop off area. It's not far from me, but it's not on my way to work. But you have the paralyzed veterans. There's any number of services that you have to reach out to them. They will come to your house and pick up things. Usually they say not, non-working appliance, they don't want non-working things. So nothing can be broken. So there is a thought that any, coffee makers, whatever, things
Yeah.
like that.
But those are
That
all the things that you still can use because they still work. You just
right.
don't want it anymore. Or
But if it doesn't work, you're right. It becomes like just excess. Yeah, just
and then it
stuff.
ends up just in the trash.
Or like you said, the landfill. Sometimes the veterans, sometimes the veterans say we will even take non-working small appliances, and they have people who will work on them. And I think the same can be said of Goodwill Industries. Sometimes they take things and repair them.
Yeah.
Probably not the most. Most of the things they want are, but yeah, you're absolutely right. There's such a huge excess of things. I mean,
Yeah.
small furniture. I would probably donate furniture. And then again, Mission Arlington also, they send trucks around, and the mission here in Arlington is one that would come, and they're interested in all items too. So you're right. It's not convenient, but if it were on my way to work, that would be very convenient. But I have to reach out to Mission Arlington. I have to reach out to. I can drop off at Goodwill, but if I have things,
Yeah.
I
But that's
definitely.
stuff that they can resell. That's like use.
Yeah, but not necessarily. I don't know. Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah, but sometimes they have people that like to work on things. Not
Yeah.
often, probably, but
So, but think about your batteries.
yeah. Right. And computer parts. I have, you can't just drop that off. You have to wait in Arlington till certain days for,
Okay, so they do have specific dates for certain additional things.
yeah, I'm gonna try and think of something else. There's something else you have to wait. Well, lighter fluid, for example, like fluid that you use to start if you're gonna barbecue or something, that kind of those different gasoline, different things, flammable things that you want to get rid of. You
Yeah.
have to wait until they tell you when you can take it.
Yeah. But if you would have the ability to do it anytime, whenever you have it,
Yeah, it'd be better. It would be
then you
very
don't have to
beneficial.
store it the entire time, right?
Right. It'd be beneficial. It would be beneficial.
So going back to the who question, who do you think would want to use a service like that? I put down the people that are environmentally conscientious. I put individuals that would want to support a good cause. Do you feel that's like a good kind of target group, or do you see another group that should be included?
Well, I say working professionals who would replace things like that they would use up. You know, young working professionals seem to be more, are more recycling conscious than anybody. The younger, the older people, they just want to get rid of stuff. But I think you have working professionals who would like to, that will replace the things they're getting rid of.
Yeah.
But you're homeless, they're not going to have the access to be able to buy things that they can use up. But maybe they could be possibly part of the sorting crew that helps.
Yeah,
that was your idea too, right?
so that brings me back to the why a little bit,
Right.
the last discussion point. So the one reason why I would want to do it is because we have to take care of our area that we live in. We have to live where we live, and we do not necessarily want to be forced away from that space. I mean, can you would have out of the blue like a really bad winter storm because the environment goes crazy? Can you imagine Texas having a really bad winter storm?
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. It did have one.
Or you have a summer that is like 120 degrees,
That's right.
It's the space livable too. Or then you have the air being polluted from a landfill, or the water being polluted, and then makes a space unlivable. And so we do not want Dallas and the DFW area to come to that point where it is not livable anymore. And so that should be one of the motivation points, or why I feel this is needed. And the other thing, and as you kept pointing out about who are those people at the margin, I do not want to like narrow it down to a specific group, because there's different layers and different people that are at the margin. But the overall idea is to give them a re-entry into society. A point, and I think it puts the people that are struggling, holding a job maybe, that are struggling because of whatever background they have.
Right.
And I like the whole concept is built on two things. One part is what I've seen in Switzerland, and the other part is what I've seen at Bontown Farm. I don't know if you heard of that place in South Dallas that has taken the concept of making a farm, and they are employing people and make agreements with them on having a working relationship, and they can garden themselves. So they learn the skill, and they get as well a place to live at the same time, as long as they be within the agreed point. And so that is kind of the concept I'm taking here a little bit, like giving them possibly even a place to stay and live.
Right.
So that would eliminate for them to having to travel somewhere. If it's about travel, then there is a whole other thing that we would, because somebody that doesn't have a place where they live, it's harder to keep a job. It's harder to maintain a consistency. And so it would be definitely a part of that program, including as well like mentorship and counseling and all that stuff, to actually help them address their issues and help them to re-enter society. Because it's not just done with, hey, I'm giving you a job.
Right.
All your problems should be gone. And,
No,
it's just not how it works. This is why, those are the two main reasons why I feel this need exists. And that's why I feel there is a market for doing something like that.
Right.
Do you feel that I'm addressing that in the right way?
so. I think there are many concepts like this that are being employed, perhaps not one that's a specific location. But I know in Como Elementary School, Lake Como in Fort Worth, they have a community garden. They have many community gardens, but I'm not sure it includes a place to stay. And I know, what comes to mind for me is Habitat for Humanity, with people building their homes and just getting help with a place to live. And, but that's kind of different from what you're talking about. So I understand what you're saying. I think there's a definite need. Anytime the end result is helping someone, I think it's going to be it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I feel there's like a double whammy. There's like helping two things at the same time. You help individuals that have, a challenging environment, and then at the same time you help the environment that can't really fight for itself unless that we take actions and help.
Right. I think this is all it's a very wonderful concept. I think that's a good idea. And your presentation of it, I think, is very thorough. So it seems like it would be a great idea.
So that is pretty much the whole interview already. So I just have to bounce off my concept and see if if I need to make adjustments to it and which ones they would be, or if I'm completely out of contact with what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And it would
right.
So
yeah, I don't think you are. I think you're onto something, because you take us. I'm thinking of retirement, and I'm going to want to divest myself of a lot of crap, of a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't want to, try to sell, and I'd like to just get rid of it. But there's that point, of where do you take stuff like that you mentioned? So that's a good idea.
So thank you very much for your time this evening. I appreciated taking the time to helping me with this project. And then I wish you a wonderful rest of your evening.
You're so sweet. You could leave that